Good morning, councillors. Welcome to the Perth Common Good Fund Committee meeting for the Wednesday the 19th of June 2019. Do we have any apologies?
Convener, we have apologies from Councillor Harry Coates.
Thank you. Do we have any declarations of interest? Councillor Ahern.
Yes, Convener, I've got a declaration of interest in paper 5, item 2.11.
Okay, thank you very much. Any more declarations of interest? No, thank you. Before we proceed, I'd just like to notify members, I believe the information has already got round, but the item under grants at paragraph 2.9 and 2.10, that item has been withdrawn yesterday and we will not be considering that item. Thank you. Moving on to item 3, the minutes of the last meeting. Do we have any comments with regard to the minutes? Can we take the minutes as read? Thank you. Moving on to item 5 then. Applications for financial assistance. We have an application from the Friends of St John's Kirk of Perth, and we are asked to consider the request and consider a sum of money, since no financial recommendation is made by officers. I am minded myself that we should meet the £500 for this one. Councillor Ahern.
Thank you very much, Convener. Whilst I've got a lot of support for the Friends of St John's Kirk and the Carillion, I'm not quite sure that this does meet the criteria of 9.8. We're being asked to provide just more than 50% of the funding to help them produce items that they're going to sell to produce funds. I think it sets a dangerous precedent to go more than 50% of an application. I would therefore like to put an amendment that we reduce it to 25%, which is £247.
Sorry, can you repeat the figure?
Yeah, £247, which I think is 25% of the ask.
Do you have any? Councillor Drysdale.
Thanks. Thanks, Convener. Can I just, before considering whether to second Councillor Ahern's amendment, can I just check that it is indeed the case that that these CDs are going to be sold as opposed to given away?
Mr. Haxton.
Yeah, we've had it confirmed that they will be selling, but what they have said is they do not expect to make any profit. If they do make any profit, they're quite happy to return that to common good. Any other comment? Okay. With regard to Councillor Ahern's point, 9.8, any other purpose where it can be demonstrated that there is a benefit to the residents of the City of Perth, it doesn't actually impose a particular limit there. However, I'm not again what you're suggesting. Does anyone, Councillor Drysdale?
Yeah, I'm happy to second Councillor Ahern's amendment.
Okay. Are we content then, Councillor Wilson?
Could I make a suggestion? I'm not against the amendment. I think that's reasonable. But if the Friends of St John's Kirk want to report back to us on the sales in due course, and if they wish to make a further application, then I think we should make it clear to them that we would consider that on its merits.
Okay, that seems a wise counsel. Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Can we agree then that the recommendation, we will award a grant of £247? Agreed, thank you. At paragraph 2.3, we have a recommendation that paragraph 2.4, we have a recommendation that Headway Perth Kinross be awarded a grant of £224 towards the cost of a summer coach trip to Dunfermline. Can we agree that recommendation? Agreed. Thank you. Paragraph 2.6, we have a recommendation that the Jar of Jewels be awarded a grant of £822 towards the costs of a Pakistan Independence Day celebration. Can we agree that recommendation? Agreed. Thank you.
I'm very happy to support the recommendation, but could we ask for a report back, just something on the numbers who attended, and a bit about, if we're looking at things in terms of the Fairness Commission and diversity and inclusion, it would be useful to have a report back on the number of people who attended, the families, and just a wee bit more about the celebration.
Certainly, I'm sure we can do that. Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Can we? Yep. At paragraph 2.8, we have a recommendation that PCAV's Mental Health and Wellbeing Hub be awarded a grant of £1,329 towards the costs of open studios leading to an end-of-year production. Can we agree that recommendation? Agreed. Thank you. The item at 2.9 and 2.10 has been withdrawn. With regard to capital grants, we have a recommendation at 2.12 that the North Inch Bowling and Sports Club be awarded a grant of £2,037 towards the cost of phase 2 of a clubhouse extension. Can we agree that recommendation? Agreed. Thank you. At item 2.14, we have a recommendation that the River Tay Community Sport Hub be awarded a grant of £300 towards the costs of the purchase of a defibrillator. Councillor Drysdale.
Convener, I don't think there can be anything more for the common good than a defibrillator, and I would propose a policy exception, propose an amendment that we agree the whole £600.
I'm happy to second that.
Thank you. Are there any dissenting voices from that proposal? Can we agree, therefore, that the River Tay Community Sport Hub be awarded a grant of £600 towards the cost of the purchase of a defibrillator? Thank you very much. Moving on to item 6, the financial statements. Can I ask Mr. Coyne to introduce this report? Thank you.
Thank you, Convener. The financial statement report includes the 2018-19 unaudited financial statement and the 19-20 financial statement to 26th of May 19. The year-end estimates reported to committee on the 24th of April 19 are now updated to reflect the actual income and expenditure to the 31st of March 2019. In following completion of the 18-19 accounts, which remain subject to audit by KPMG, the deficit for the year was £168,612. The total balance for the fund is £1,516,415, £1,516,415 as detailed in Appendix 1. The actual outturn reflects a positive movement of £13,285 from the previous reported position, and reasons for the movement are noted in section 2.3 of the report. The income and expenditure to 26th of May 2019 and the projected outturn for 1920 are included in Appendix 2. The projected deficit for the year is £25,500, and they estimated that the total balance for the fund at 31st of March 2020 will be £1,490,000. The only adjustment to projections following the meeting on the 24th of April relates to an update to the annual depreciation charge on properties held by the Perth Common Good Fund, and this has resulted in the previously reported deficit of £30,100, reducing by £4,600. Apologies for the 1.5 millions, etc. I'm used to dealing with millions. Happy to take any questions.
Do we have any questions? Councillor Dugan.
Thanks, Convener. Would that it was, Mr. Coyne, millions. Can I ask for an update both on Northport and North Mevin Street, and I have another question after that update.
Is Mr. Haxton, perhaps?
I would defer to Donald on this one, sorry.
In terms of the North Mevin Street shop, the works are complete. The tenant is operating as normal again. In terms of 2 Northport shop, I believe there's additional structural reviews required, structural assessments for a beam. last update I had from property colleagues, that was undertaken a couple of weeks ago. So I'm waiting on feedback as to what works are required and the phasing of works, etc.
Okay, thank you. And also, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Also, can I ask for a report, or not a report, but an update verbally, hopefully now, on what's happening with our asset at the Harbour End store? My understanding is we spent quite a lot of money demolishing that asset for reasons which escape me now. I think it was unsafe or something like that, or certainly unusable. And now we have substituted an unusable building for an unusable space. So I'd like the Common Good committee to have an understanding about what do we need to do to turn that into a usable asset generating income for the fund.
Mr. Coyne?
My recollection is, yeah, the Harbour End store was demolished because it was unfit and it was unstable and it was a dangerous building in effect. The majority of works were complete, but I think there was an issue with the electrical works which maybe had to be completed. But what I can do is I can consult with my property colleagues and find out what's actually happened with that, because I believe the long-term aim was to actually have the site suitable for hard storage, you know, just for lay-down storage, etc.
Kavina, that was my understanding is consistent with Mr. Coyne's. Can I ask that those inquiries are made as expediently as possible, and that rather than just have an update at the next committee, that we get an update before the next committee with the situation as it is just now, but that officers come back to the next committee with a plan to get that asset back into use, please?
Certainly, thank you. And I think that here the Harbour Board may have an interest in terms of the development of the site for the development of trade through the port, and there may be a case for, if you like, working with the Harbour Board and other interested parties against the development of that site. Indeed. Any more questions? Councillor Wilson.
Thanks, Convener. Just a follow-on from, I think, Councillor Dugan's first question, the North Port. If we're to get a report on the Harbour End store site, could we maybe get an email report before the next meeting about North Port? It's been on the go for a while, I think, is my opening line, and it slid from last financial year into this one. There's a problem. We'd like to know what the problem is and what the consequences are, if there's cost or time issues involved in that, because I don't think we want it going into next financial year, if at all possible. If we could
Certainly.
get that report.
That seems very reasonable. Thank you. Any more questions? Can we agree the report? Are there any comments following on? No. Thank you very much. I think that concludes the business. Thank you.